All right, good morning, everybody. It is 8 a.m. here in Mountain Time. I guess I'm near Tempe, Arizona. I'm not even actually sure exactly specifically where the heck I am, but we are out here for WBC. First day of practice is today in about an hour and a half. So we'll give this about an hour 20. I'll throw my stuff in the bag and we'll head out to the bus. Hope you guys are doing good. Thanks for hanging with me this morning. Had to go take a long walk to find a coffee, so we got a Starbucks. It's kind of what we're working with today, but we'll go ahead and hang out for a little bit today. There was some fun stuff in spring training yesterday, so we will definitely go through all of that. I actually had some of it written down, so I'm trying to remember what I said. Oh yeah, we got to watch Dollander, Imanaga, Carter Jensen, Charlie Condon. Mick Abel had a nice outing yesterday. If you guys have anything that you know was televised and you want me to go ahead and take a look, we can do that. So that's kind of what today is. We're going to bounce around quite a bit. Also, if you haven't seen my What's in My Baseball Bag video from last night, I thought it was pretty informative, on a nerdy level, some of the stuff that I use to get the body ready in preparation and all the different little things you think about as a baseball player. So particularly pitcher. And shout out to all the rock climbers out there if you saw some of the video, because we steal a lot of their thunder as well along the way. All right, so let's hop over to the main screen. I pulled up the hardest hit balls of spring training. I don't think we're going to have video on all these, but I felt like before I even jump into the Dugout app and look at individual performances, this is just a high home. This ball's hit 120 by Cags, who I'm about to go watch hit BP today, and all we got is the high home angle on that. Cease popping 98 in his first inning. Hot gun. I doubt it's a hot gun. I bet that's super legit. He's never had a hard problem generating velocity. He's been a guy who's sat at 100 at times. So I wouldn't say that. Ooh, Josiah Gray Day today. We haven't seen him in a long while. Really good dude. Hopefully he comes back healthy. Here's man, that didn't look very hard. This Jordan Walker single, this is going to be the second hardest hit ball of spring training. Tells you ground balls sometimes are awfully deceptive. Curious to watch Jordan Walker this year. He's obviously a guy who has not burst on the scene like we expected, but he's still going to be a very interesting player. Imagine if Jack could also throw an inning or two once in a while. I mean, he got the arm for it. Apparently, he was a pitcher only for a little while. Can you believe that? Just shows you that pitchers are, in fact, the best athletes. When we convert, special stuff happens. Here's a double. This is Italian on Italian crime here. Jack, again, off of Lorenzen. Just nuking it to center. So, if you're a Royals fan, you should definitely be excited about him. I know he didn't do anything last year, the 532 OPS, but he's a monster. I saw him walking around this morning when I went to go get my coffee, and some guys are just bigger than the other guys, and it's kind of something you notice when you get to the big leagues. Sometimes the star players, they're just larger bodies. Like, they have the same level of skill, but a much higher ceiling because they're just so big. I think of like a Matt Holliday or even like a Pujols when I first got to the big leagues. I don't know. It's probably interesting. Maybe I am just out of touch. I still have some vague notion that guys' velo gradually ramps up in spring. Some guys, but a lot of the modern pitchers don't take that approach. They come in guns blazing. The off seasons look a lot different than they used to look when I first started out. Dylan Cease, a guy with tremendous velocity in general. So not surprising that he was throwing hard. All right, what do we got here? We got a Gavin Collier cutter to Brett Squires with no video. Okay, so we're not going to get that. Here's an out. I'm just going to watch the top 10 hardest hit balls, and then we'll move on to an actual performance. Another ground ball. Ooh, this one, you can see it was hit hard. That ate up the shortstop. Good recovery, though. That ball was hit how hard? 115.6. And then we have 3 home runs in a row. We have a Charlie Condon home run off Seth Lugo. Charlie Condon obviously was Golden Spikes winner out of University of Georgia. Really high pick by the Rockies. They could really use one of these guys to come through. This is an absolute piss rod, huh? 115 line drive down the line, probably about 360. Not very much launch angle there. Charlie Condon's got a good story, too. I believe he was like a walk-on. So another late bloomer in a way that makes it work. And, I was just talking with actually former Rocky strength coach Brian Jordan, who was here working with Great Britain. I was talking with him yesterday in the lobby, and we were talking about how it is kind of crazy, the amount of late bloomers that you see in the big leagues. So keep that in mind if you're a kid and you are worried about where you're at. There's still time. The finish line is not yet. Okay, we won't get this one. This is Cags again. So 3 of the top 10 hardest hit balls in spring are Jack Caglione. This one's off of Brandon Williamson. We don't have the video of that. What about this one? Van Way off of Moda. Logan Van Way. Okay, never seen this guy. Nats prospect. Oh, Diablo. To the opposite field. City of Palms Park. That's a great swing right there. This is a guy I've never heard of, obviously. Number 93 in your scorebook. But look at this, is special. This is an amazing swing. Stays on a little cutter slider thing, down and away, drives it out to center. So impressive piece of pop right there from Mr. Jorgelis Moda off of Logan Van Way. 434. Somehow it's only home run in 29 ballparks, so I don't know. That's kind of a weird thing there. What else we got here? We'll skip this out. We'll go to Junior Caminero, single off of Cookie Carrasco. Saw a very cool thing yesterday where Manny Machado gave Junior Caminero his number. Can show you, and I talked about it a little bit on the stream the other day. Junior's really rising up in the Dominican hierarchy. He's got a pretty good chance to hit in the middle of that order. All right, a couple more, then we'll move on to something else. Miguel Ulola facing Andrew Pickney. This is going to be a 114.1 mile an hour double. Another Nats prospect here. Oh, damn. That ball was shillelied in the gap right there. Damn. Let me see that again. He really got through this ball nice. Very flat swing. It's cool to watch the young guys, though. It's interesting because it's all on super display in spring training. Guys are feeling good. There's youth everywhere. There's competitions in the air. Like I said, the season hasn't wore on yet. Damn, look at that swing. He really pulled that backhand through hard. Interesting little hack there for Mr. Pickney. Let's see if we can see this Zaire Hope double, and then we'll call it for the hard hit balls. This is a huge Dodgers prospect. Kid's built like a tank. Look at this tank. Oof. That ball got it through the infield pretty fast. Shuts it down at second. But Zaire Hope and Jorge De Paula, 2 of the Dodgers superstar prospects that are on the way. Not that they need them, but they'll get them. Man, look at that ball. Ball's whacked. All right, so that's it for the hard hit balls for now. Let's go hop in the chat for a minute and see which direction we want to roll here today. Jack Weniger had a bizarre day for the Mets yesterday. They had to use that he's thrown too many pitches this inning, but we'll put him in back in the next inning rule twice. Yeah, you never want to do the whole roll the inning, bring in a reliever to get you out of jail, and then you have to go back in to keep building your pitch count. It's not real baseball. It sort of feels embarrassing, but I actually like that they made that rule because it keeps the game in a real game state at least. It used to be weird when they would literally roll an inning. It'd be like bases loaded, 2 outs, and they'd be like, he's thrown too many pitches, on to the next inning, and a whole team's crowd that was like, enjoying the rally or whatever on the offensive side was kind of like, well, what just happened? You just like canceled the inning midway, and then that affects numbers and everything else as well. So pretty interesting to see. Hope needs to cut down on the whiff, but dude has insane EVs. I mean, you can see it there. He's a ball of muscle. I've mentioned how I like some of the shorter guys. He's not too tall, but he's packing a punch. So, I don't know. That's pretty cool. All right, what else we got here? In the chat, Andrew Chafin. Andrew Chafin is on the most interesting velo journey this spring. Yeah, I mean, when you're a super vet, it's funny because you probably can't come in guns blazing if you want to be ready to do your job. This was something that affected me, I think, in my pursuit of making the Red Sox last year. Like, I can't come into camp and try to be physically impressive at the very start of camp. Like, you have to have a long runway. And then once you have that long runway, you can go ahead and, get to the starting gate, which is opening day, and find a way to be successful throughout the season. But the reality is everybody comes in throwing absolute gas. Everything's measured. The youth is tantalizing, and it can be embarrassing to be that guy throwing, mid to low 80s, like I think Chafin is. But at the end of the day, he'd probably throw upper 80s into 90s once the starting gate opens, and he'll throw some sliders in the dirt, and he'd probably be pretty effective versus lefties. All right. Who has had the most impressive pitching performance so far this spring? I mean, we really haven't seen enough of them yet. So we'll get there. Have I looked at some of the new pitches being thrown this spring? Totally sinker is interesting to me. Individually, when we've seen them, we watched Jonah Tong's cutter quite a bit. It's funny because Lance Brzezinski thinks it's like a game changer, and I don't. So everybody's going to have different opinions on that. And, individually, when we've been able to watch a game, if we see a guy with a new offering, we always look into it. But I don't know much about Totally Sinker yet. We'll have plenty of time to look for that. Hope and Jackson Ferris and Yency Almonte and Michael Busch. For Yency Almonte and Michael Busch is an interesting trade. Yeah, that was the Cubs-Dodgers trade. Yency never really stayed healthy. Michael Busch became a beast. So that's pretty interesting. All right, did I watch Chase Dollander or Chase Burns? I want to watch Dollander. So let me figure out who they played yesterday. I know he pitched. So let's go get into this for a second. Rockies, Rock Show, Guardians. All right, let's see if we have video on that. We should, I would imagine. So Dollander, very interesting pitcher, huge draft pick, huge pedigree. Honestly, he gives me Garrett Cole vibes. Got called up very quickly last year for the Rock Show and just got murdered at Coors. Pitched pretty well on the road, but got absolutely dismantled at Coors, and that was a bit of a shame. So let's watch this whole outing, actually, because it's only 2 innings. First batter, Stephen Kwan, 97.6. So here he is in Arizona. There's slight amount of elevation in Arizona, so it will mute your metrics just a tad, but not a whole lot. So anyway, 12.6 vert, 13.7 horizontal. It's kind of a dead zone fastball, but it is 98-ish for the first pitch of the game, and he goes right to this curveball, which I do like the shape. I do think that Dollander has impressive total pitch talent. I wonder a little bit if some of his issue at times is lack of deception. Like, they see the ball really good. Oof, and this was just a really weird pulled fastball right into the rib cage of Stephen Kwan here. Actually, it's in the butt, so poor guy gets hit in the butt. I don't know. Do you guys feel bad a little bit for Stephen Kwan that he didn't get that spot? I mean, I know we're all excited about Roman, and I'm not mad about Roman getting the spot, but I saw Kwan was in the discussion. I felt like if anybody kind of deserved it, it might be him. So part of me wonders that. My wife is just blowing me up with text right now. Left-handed slugger. Taking high and wide. All right, 87.9 backdoor cutter. See the shape on that. Negative 7.2 and 10.8. This is a massive cutter at that speed. And this is also Chase Dollander. This is the batter who made the he made his debut in the postseason last year, which is always a weird place to be. So you see, he's sitting 97, 98, 99. Like, the fastball is very, very fast.
Dollander was the 9th pick in the draft. The pitch swung on
99.4 again on the four seam. I'm not loving the four seam shape, which makes me immediately want to go check his shape from last year before we keep going. Now, I thought it was definitely going to be muted because it was at Coors, so it's hard to look totally into this number, but what was his four seam shape last year, including Coors? Okay, yeah, 12.4 inches rise, 11.5 inches tail. Kind of a weird, not very lifty four seam, to be honest with you. I know Coors mutes that a little bit, so I just assumed it would be like 15, 16 out of Coors, but right now he's showing 12s. So anyway, we'll keep that in mind. 0-2 count. Here comes the sinker. First sinker we've seen. Excellent metric. Holy cow.
the pitch. High.
He needs to learn to command this pitch because this is incredible. Let me go back to that real quick so you guys can see that metric. 19.9, so 20 inches to the right, only 1.2 on the induced vertical break. Damn it. That's kind of crazy to look at right there. 19.9 and 1.2. That's a really good sinker, especially with the velocity. I mean, this comes in at 98. He tries to go front door freeze here. Obviously, he misses, but I like the fact that he went up with it. I don't mind that visual, that lane at all. And now he's going to go curveball, probably a back foot attempt. Really good shape on the curveball. -14, -8.3 on the drop. Damn, look at the ball fly in Arizona. That's 99.3 at 33. It goes super far. Man, he just touches this ball. It's kind of crazy.
But you're not going to be the 9th player in the first round of a draft if you're a reliever. The 1-2. Swung on, socked.
I guess he got it on the barrel, but man, this thing really traveled. And it's going to be a double. So this is just a bad pitch. He ends up throwing like a breaking ball in the zone here. Let me see what the target is on the catcher here. Yeah, so he set up middle in. Theoretically, the idea is you start it here and you drop it down into here. And instead, this pitch pops and just ends up away. Dollander with a weird swing where he's falling away from the plate. Just shows you what type of raw juice this guy kind of has. I mean, he barely touches it. So on the offensive side, that's kind of an impressive physical move there. Anyway, we've watched that 3 times. Now he starts to get some outs. So Jose Ramirez is next. 99.5 four seam. I mean, the velocity's crazy. And it's easy cheese, too. Does it look like he's trying very hard? Not to me. Here's that cutter again. And this is the one pitch I actually really like the shape of it. It's got a ton of left turn on it for 10.3 vert. It's sort of like a mini power sweeper in a way. I don't like the shape on the four seam, though. So it makes me think maybe he's a sinker guy and he doesn't know it yet. Changeup, pretty lifty changeup. So far, the command has been pretty awful in this game, which a lot of times when guys have quote-unquote picture-perfect mechanics, the reason why you do that is, you know, hopefully to repeat really well and create a really simple move to command the ball well. And I know this is only his second outing of spring, but yeah, he's spraying the ball pretty good. Well, we didn't even get to see that, and now we're going to go back to the sinker. Another up-in target. So there, it looks like they're trying to get him to learn how to freeze some guys. Of course, Jose Ramirez is always going to be on everything. So he ends up getting a sac fly out to right there. Now we got Manzardo. So he is facing a ton of lefties. I think this is also important because, you know, there's so many teams are going to pump lefties in the lineup versus a righty, so you have to have your lefty attack dialed in. All right, that's a nice pitch. Backdoor curveball. So I'm really liking his sinker and his curveball in this game from a pitch perspective, and I'm not in love with the fastball four seam despite the velocity. This changeup does the trick. Shape-wise, I'm undecided. Doesn't feel like it has enough vertical separation from a four seam, and certainly not from a sinker. But again, 0-2, you know, he's got to throw a fastball here. You got to elevate here. Give him a chance to swing at a bad pitch. And I actually think this is a really bad target by the catcher. I mean, look, he only flashes it up barely, and then he drops it down to get ready to frame. I don't know why you're trying to frame the bottom of the zone here. Some of these catchers and these teams just don't get it, man. Like, you got to throw the ball up here, and then all of a sudden you drop the mitt to the ground. I mean, you're just not helping your pitcher you're just not helping your pitcher execute. So he ends up throwing this ball right down the middle. What do you want to do on 0-2? You want to give him a chance to swing at a bad pitch. He doesn't do that. So that's just one fundamental thing I see there. I mean, obviously the velocity's good. We're starting to get into this sinker shape a little bit, which I'm assuming he's going to use here right on right. Let's see. Yeah, David Fry. But yeah, some of the two-strike command has been interesting. I like the cutter shape too. So I'm like sinker, cutter, curveball. I think we might have something. This is a nice pitch. Now this is really a slider. This is a gyro slider because it has no vert. But I like how much left turn it has on it at the velocity. Like this is going to be a quality offering for sure. And this should play well at Coors. This should have a good amount of gyro on it. And now he's going to throw another one. This is 2 and -7. So this is a slider. So he has 2 gyros. One's a cutter, one's a slider. They both move about -7, but one has vert on it, one doesn't. I mean, pretty awful. Pretty awful camera work here. You only get to the very end of the pitch here. They clip this pitch very, very poorly. I don't know if this is my guy Jonesy with the Rockies, but that's not a great job. All right, George Valera. Another lefty coming in here. Going to start him with a sinker. Target middle. Pulls it in. Takes a little while to get used to that sinker command for sure. Looks like curveball he might have the most strike throwing ability with right now. Now he's in the corner. He's got to go 4-seam. Let's see what happens here. Gets him to ground it out. 107.4 on the ground. Last 2 batters. This is going to get his first punchy here. Rocchio. Let's see how he gets him. Starts him with the changeup. He could benefit from a kick changeup for sure. All right, gets him out front. I do think you have to have some element of a changeup when you're throwing 98, 99. Guys have no choice but to gear up on it. There's that front door sinker. So this is the lane he needs to shoot for. You see, watch the give with the righties, with the right hip of the batter. He thinks that ball is coming in on him, and it's over the plate. That's a free strike. You need free strikes at Coors. You won't get as much run back, but you can still do it a little bit off the corner. And then bring it back. And if you can get called strikes at Coors, it's a cheat code because any ball in play is a problem. There's a 100-mile-an-hour fastball up in. So here's another example of a 1-2 count. You can see where they want it. They want it up in, but then the catcher does his same old bullshit, brings the glove down. He hits the spot this time, which is why it works out. Granted, it's a hair too low. A tick higher probably gets it by him. But it's also the vert on the fastball, 13.4. If this has 17 vert, something above average, it's doors. He's punched for sure. And now cutter for the strikeout. So this should be a belt line cutter. Let's see it. Actually goes to the up and away backdoor cutter. So another like probably poor idea here, but it works. This is actually a slider. They're getting these pitches wrong at times. There's only 1 vert, so this is a gyro. And what happens here is it's a happy accident. He throws the backdoor up and away pitch. He's got him sped up with all the fastball velocity that's kind of in on him. And then this pitch is up and away, and he drags his bat underneath it. So that's a happy accident. When you want to finish guys with breaking balls lefties, you either want to break them in here to the belt line, down here to the back foot. If you have a vertical breaking ball, you can go down here. Or, and you see this sometimes with guys with sliders or cutters, if you can really dot it up and away, you get a lot of weird bat path action where they kind of swing under the ball. So that's what happens there. Happy accident. And his last batter is going to be Daniel Schneemann. So velocity is crazy. I mean, he's just hovering in 99 territory now. Sinker in, strike 1.
Part of that Tennessee volunteer baseball program, a juggernaut. Fires outside.
Sweeper backdoor. So this is the first sweeper we've seen. I don't know that it's a sweeper or not. Doesn't hit with it. Here comes the 4. You can see just like even despite the velocity, they're out in front of this ball, and they have no problem getting barrel to it. Like he's not getting above the barrel. Again, that's a vert issue. It's only going to be tamped down more in Coors. I think he might want to lean into that sinker shape a little bit more. I know he's going to have a slightly below average release height, so he should create some VAA, but he's going to have to locate these pitches despite the velocity. All right, 2-2 is going to get an out on the slider.
Now the 2-2. Swung on line.
So that was a little better. Gets it down. Pretty good job putting the ball in play. And that's the end of the outing for Dollander. Let me see if I can't find the breakdown from this game. This was yesterday. Curious just to see how it looks when you aggregate it a little bit. All right, Dollander. So he threw 35% four seam, 21% cutter, which were really cutters and sliders. 18% sinkers, 12 changeup, 12% curve, and 3% sweeper, which was just that one pitch. Velocity was amazing. In terms of whiffs, you see that four seam got 0% whiffs. Cutter got 50% whiffs, which is why I liked it. Changeup actually 100% whiffs. So that has to be a part of his game moving forward, and curveball 50% whiffs. So both of his fastballs generated 0% whiffs on 9 swings. Interesting. Now, in terms of the pitch shape, this is kind of what he was working with last year, even at Coors. So I don't know, something's up with the four seam. Obviously, I like the velocity, but I don't like the fastball shape. It's a little bit concerning. And like that's even with really good spin on it, 24-17 spin. So there's something about the spin efficiency of this pitch that's wonky. Cutter, I do like. The cutter and slider combo he had above average amount of horizontal break. Averaged 7 yesterday, only averaged 4 on the season. It's an additional 3 inches of break. That's a good thing. Sinker, 18 and 5 yesterday on average. That's really good. So he should keep throwing that. Changeup, 16 and 5. This is part of my issue. It's too close to that sinker and not really far enough away on vertical separation from the fastball either, only 7 inches. So it's a little bit concerning shape-wise, but speed-wise, it's got to be a part of his game. I actually liked when he used it early in the count to slow guys down from what we just watched. And then curveball is a shape I do like. He's got good spin on it. It's going to be a big pitch away from Coors, but he should also use it early count to steal strikes. So that's a little dive into Dollander and how he looks. We're going to be curious to see how he does this year. He's probably, in terms of raw physical ability, one of the more talented guys they've ever had. And curious to watch the adjustments he makes. I do think his lack of deception hurts him a little bit in the beast that is Coors Field, but we can't all throw funky, right? I mean, he wouldn't be throwing 99 if he threw super funky. All right, what else we got here in the chat? When you're a Rockies pitcher, are you actively and mindfully bringing a different plan on the road, or are you trying to find one that works at Coors and travels? I did a lot of adjusting. I mean, I didn't change my mix very much, but it was more like changing my sights, knowing my pitches are going to break more at sea level than at Coors. So basically, like if I was going to front hip a lefty, I could start that ball pretty inside at the left-handed batter on the road, and at home, I'd have to start it a little bit closer to the plate. Breaking ball also going to be a little shorter. So you just set your starting point accordingly. I do think that there is some truth, though, that you can benefit from spamming like high gyro pitches at Coors. Herman Marquez is really good at this. John Gray, Jorge De La Rosa at one point, Ulysses Chacin, plenty of other guys. Even, Greg Holland, his all-star year with us, closing, threw a lot of death balls that were kind of loose gyro pitches that had some good drop. You could get them to the ground. And, those pitches are effective on the road, but they're maybe more effective at home. So you jack up your usage on that a little bit. So I guess that's sort of an interesting. Because certain pitchers are the most commonly missed by umpires, could you see certain relief pitchers being deployed or not based on ABS challenges remaining? Curveball guys, maybe. Not the first year. We would have to have a much larger sample to understand what it all means and why you'd be worried about sending a guy out there just because of the ABS system. We're going to find out who this benefits over time. I don't have a great feel for it yet. I'm starting to think that this might be a little bit of an advantage hitters in the long run. Because, again, like the pickup point of the ABS system is a little bit, I think, further back than where we've perceived the strike zone before. So that could be an issue. Oh, here's something. Dalen C said on a podcast he's looking at his target until later in the delivery and has better shape because of it, but that does not But does that not hurt command? I don't know what you mean by this, Marcus. You got to explain this question for me. For me, I always tried to pick up the target. Like I've talked a little bit about my eyes. You want to like look the wrong way and then look back on the plate because it's hard to maintain your focus on one spot for a really long time. So guys who stare a hole through the glove throughout their entire delivery, I always feel like that's a little bit misguided. So maybe he's talking about that, but I'm not really sure. Mets right field opening is interesting. All players looking pretty good. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt Benj is twitchy and toolsy and interesting, and I think we're gonna find out a little bit. We're gonna find a little bit out about exactly what he can and can't handle at the big league level when he does get called up. But I mean, like Tauchman's a great option. I know Melendez. They picked him for a reason. They like him for a reason. And, we'll just have to watch this all kind of play out. So the Cubbies, where are the Cubbies? Did they not play yesterday? Yeah, White Sox. Let me just double check this because I think Imanaga pitched. And I am curious for a second. Yeah, he did pitch. He gave up 3 bombs. I want to see his breakdown because we tracked his first start in spring and we noted that the velocity was going to be very important here. I also wanted to watch Anthony Kay coming back over from Japan. So hopefully we have this game. But anyway, let's look at Imanaga. All right, velocity still up, 92.7 on average yesterday. Everything up across the board. Vertical break actually down a little bit, which had looked better in the first game. So I'm curious to watch this. He's turning his head towards the target late. This is the comment from Cease. I think that's good. I think you don't have to stare a hole through it. And I'll say this anecdotally, a lot of my nastiest pitches shape-wise and velocity-wise actually came with runners on either second or third, where I'm naturally coming set in a neutral position looking at the runner, or I'm looking here before delivering to the plate. And something about that little extra bit of head turn to kind of start to pull you into that rotation while you're resisting kind of helps feed that rotation in a nice pattern. And I had a theory that maybe a strategy for throwing hard might be to actually like look at second on every pitch, even with nobody on, and then gun them to home so I can kind of understand what they're saying. On Friday, you had told someone you used the catcher's mitt as your zone and found you had better control the longer you had focus watching the glove. Have you ever had a catcher who moved too much? Yes, and a lot of the new catchers move a lot, so I have to go off of that idea. I have to go more at the mask or a shoulder, or I have to pick an imaginary spot. It kind of sucks. It kind of sucks that they don't just keep the glove there anymore, but I understand what they're trying to do at the same time. So, it's hard to complain about it, but like, yeah, it bothered me a little bit at times. All right, let's see if this game was on yesterday. I know I'm not showing my screen yet. I just want to make sure that we have video of it before I can. We do. All right, great. All right, here we go. So here is, we have no video of this yet. The Imai, he only threw 10 pitches, so I'm waiting for a little more info from Imai before diving into that big time. But believe me, at his debut, we'll have a whole watching video for that. So excited for him in general. All right, here's Shota Imanaga. We're not going to watch all of it. We're just going to go ahead and speed watch it. So result pitches. First batter of the game. This looks like Austin Hayes if I've ever seen him with the no BGs.
Another 3-2.
Rollover grounder. There's Bregg. Makes that look easy. Cubs should have the best defense in the league this year. Here's a home run by Cuero, so let's watch both pitches. 93.7. So Shota came out guns blazing, throwing hard in this game. And to me, this is like the biggest metric that we needed to learn coming into this year. His velocity had really dipped. He gave up a crap load of bombs at the end of the year. I felt like maybe if he had one more tick of velocity, he could have got above some of those barrels. Now he's got 2 more ticks of velocity. It didn't help him yesterday, as we're about to see. He gives up some homers, but it's something that bears watching. This one's 94. I don't know if I've ever seen an Imanaga 94-mile-an-hour pitch in the big leagues. And a great swing by Cuero. This is another low bat speed contact guy. Bad defender, and that's why he's kind of a young DH type right now, as they're letting Kyle Teal be the starter. But he puts bat on ball, and this is actually impressive that he gets on top of this pitch. so well. How much vert was on this? 18.2. See, this is a quality rep, and I feel like this pitch is up. Imanaga should not get clipped on this, but what you really got to do is give credit to Cuero here. That's a very good swing. So there's a home run right there. And now he's going to strike out Colson Montgomery. This guy's been a kind of a strikeout or home run type of guy so far. Big pop.
2-2 from Shota.
Yes, and that's how the fastball up should be playing for Imanaga. Like, you just can't get to this ball. This is perfectly located. And I mentioned, like, you know, a lot of times the target should be the mask. It's probably what he's looking at here. And he's right on target with that because that's the perfect height. You see that little bit of scoop in the swing from Montgomery, can't quite get there. And that's what Imanaga's fastball looks like when he's right. So, good pitch there. So even despite the home run, I actually like the way he's looking early here. Here's a first pitch out on a splitter to end the first. There's PCA. And so 4 batters in the first. Second inning. Going to get him out with a split. So he's got 3 of his early outs in this game with splits. Little high chopper to Dansby. Cubs are going to be really fun to watch on defense. They just don't have any bad defenders. All right, Brooke Baldwin going to fly out on a split, so getting plenty of outs on the split.
2-1 from Shota.
Yeah, getting him out front. And it's key, too. Like, if he can speed you up enough with the fastball, which really, again, the velocity makes a big difference for a pitcher like this, where he's throwing challenge 4-seamers at the top of the zone with ride. He needs to get you to come out of your normal timing to go chase that pitch. That way the split works even better, and that's what we're seeing a little bit here with the early success. But here comes another home run, so let's watch this whole at-bat. This is prospect Braden Montgomery of the White Sox. Going to start him with a backdoor sweeper. Ooh, swings over it as it drops below the zone. Fastball away, pulls it down, and now what's he going to give it up on? Another sweeper, so probably leaves it in the middle. Yeah, just leaves it in the middle, pulls side fly ball, 107. Not many ballparks are going to hold that despite the 38-degree launch angle. So he's been clipped on 1 fastball. This pitch makes no sense to me. I know he got a swing and miss on the first one, but you shouldn't be chasing 3 swing and misses all the time. And they clearly are trying to go back foot here, thinking he's going to be aggressive and swing at it, but bad command there leaves it to that location. And sayonara. Nice swing, though. Good swing. All right. Next batter, Dustin Harris, single. He's going to single on a fastball. This one doesn't have the same amount of lift. It's kind of middle up. Left on left, no problem getting to that. And now Jacob Gonzalez is going to ground out to Michael Bush on a sweeper. Kind of came around on that. So that's a good pitch left on left. Sweeper became a good pitch when he came over. It's not a pitch he threw much of in Japan. All right, here's the third home run. Austin Hayes. Now the 4-seam's down to 91-3 here in inning 3. So clearly, I think coming out throwing hard is a thing that he wants to do, and we'll see how he can maintain that. All right, this is just a classic case of the ball's flying in Arizona. That's probably a double. I know he hit it 104.6 at 25, which is an incredible swing by Hayes, very impressive swing. But to the oppo gap, I mean, on a split, does he just hang this too high? I'm going to give credit to the hitter there. That's a pretty good pitch. Now, he didn't speed him up because he started him with only a 91.3 non-competitive, so he never really well, actually, he did. He threw him right away in the corner. So he kind of walked him out there, and it just didn't have as much separation. But you got to give credit where credit's due to Hayes there. Great swing by Hayes. All right, last 2. Cuero, who homered the first time. This time he's going to get out on a sweeper. Ball just never came back to the middle of the plate. Little chopper for Bregman, no problem. And then Colson Montgomery, who he punched the first time on the fastball. Going to get him out with a fastball again. 3-1 count. So he's gotten above his barrel twice. So anybody with a scoopy swing and has a hard time controlling the top of the zone is going to have a hard time with Imanaga. It's kind of the same deal as it's been the last few years. So we didn't learn a whole lot. Velocity was up early. you see what the game he's playing. If he misses a little bit down, he gives up a lot of fly balls. If those balls are well hit, they're going to go over the wall. So that was the Shota Imanaga little look-see. Now for the White Sox, Anthony Kay came over from Yokohama. He played last year, and now he came back to his first ever big league deal. I believe the White Sox gave him a multi-year big league deal, so he's going to be getting starts. Just curious to see how he looks. I listened to some interviews with him. He didn't really change anything. It's not like he's throwing harder. You know, he just kind of trusted himself to pitch to contact a little bit more. So that's a 90.8 mile-an-hour slider. Hell of a play at third base. My goodness. I need to watch that again. Little full extension layout. Perfect bounce throw. Nice play. All right, here's the Bregman home run. So let's watch this whole at-bat first Breg. So they're classifying this pitch as a 92.2 mile-an-hour slider. I'm waiting for him to throw a fastball if that's the case. If this isn't a slider, this is an awfully weird fastball. It could be like a cutter. Here's the changeup. Ooh, good changeup to get Bregman to chase that. Love that. Gonna try to double up on it. Makes sense. But I bet he won't chase it the second time. And it's also a little more away. And now here's the home run. Yeah, so that wasn't his fastball. He is throwing harder. 96.3. Not many guys in the big leagues can make that swing. It's got slightly above average level of vertical break on it. It's 96.3. The fastest pitch he saw was 90 in that bat. Every pitch was down. This is just an incredible job by Bregman of turning the shoulders and staying on top of this pitch. And, I mean, honestly, just a great swing. 98.5 at 32. So it's a center fielder hitting 98 mile-an-hour home runs. It's very much an Arizona spring thing, but the point remains, very good swing. All right, so Kay did come back throwing harder. Here's a sweeper. 83-4 to Mr. Ian Happ. Ooh, just missed it. And then he's going to punch Bush. This is a long at-bat. Ooh, sinker. Love the shape on his sinker. Demon pitch right there. That's a demon pitch right there. -16 and 2.2 induced vertical break. So this pitch starts on the plate somewhere in here, and it breaks right into the unhittable zone. I mean, this is nasty. Just underneath the barrel. Left on left. And I feel like you see a lot more lefties doing this now to guys. And it's tough to cover. Really tough to cover. They're not used to that ball kind of boring in on them because they're getting ready to, you know, hang in there on a breaking ball that starts in them and scoop it. And then this pitch kind of starts in a more hittable area and kind of zips in below your barrel. Not easy pitch to handle if you're not looking for it. All right, Dansby. Still throwing 96. Pretty impressive. Yeah, and jams the piss out of him. I don't mind the swing by Dansby because he's just trying to stay through that ball. But that ball jammed him really good. All right, PCA is going to get a single here. Wonder how much run PCA is going to get in the WBC. Looks like Buxton will probably be the starter most of the time. But we'll see. This is just a bad rep on a sweeper, and PCA does a good job just kind of put wood on it, slap it out there. Carson Kelly. Still got his Alan Craig stance. Love that. Gets kind of jammed by this. I'm going to call this a cutter. I mean, I know it's sort of slider-ish, sort of cutter-ish shape, but the way he's utilizing it versus righties is he's trying to pound it in on their hands. So just from an intense standpoint, this is a cutter. And he gets the type of contact he's looking for. Ooh, Kade Anderson. If that's on TV, we'll watch that next. Just remind me about that. All right, he walks Conforto, and then he's going to strike out Moises Ballesteros here with a sweeper. Perfect location, nice pitch. Nico Horner, second time through the order now. fly out on that slider, which I'm telling you he's using like a cutter. Yeah, there's that target again. Gets in on the hands a little bit. 80 miles an hour. Really good location. So he's locating that really well. He doesn't have incredible shape on his cutter, but as long as he gets it in the right locations, he'll be okay. Also, lefty cutters versus righties, I tend to like more than righty cutters versus lefties. Even if they don't have great shape. All right, so here's a double. So Bregman gets 2 hits, one on a 4-seam, one on a sinker. They're going for the front door freeze. And he drops head on that. Should have been caught, looks like. Yeah, little sun issue out there. Actually hit this ball harder than the home run, though. So 2 really good contacts by Bregman, kind of regardless of how they look. And then he walks Happ to end his outing. So K, big-time velocity jump from last time we saw him in the big leagues, correct? Yeah. Up almost 2 miles an hour across the board. Now, this slider that they're calling a slider, I really think is more of a cutter intent. So, I don't know. He's getting a run with the White Sox. I was curious to see what his stuff looked like because it's pretty hard. I mean, just because you go to Japan and you dominate like you did doesn't mean that they're going to look at your metrics. They're going to want you. But obviously they did want him. So White Sox bring him back. He's going to get a big opportunity over here to make starts, and I'm excited for him. UConn guy, was with us a little bit with the Mets. Obviously really didn't get much opportunities. One of the years he was with us, we were pretty good. Re-listening, C says he's trying to do what Yamamoto does. I think you eventually got the right idea. Yeah, the idea of kind of looking away to then, re-pick up your target, I think is actually better for command. And also I think there's a little bit of a rotational linear combination of flow towards the plate as you kind of look away. And then as you look back, you kind of like harness a little bit more energy using your neck because you're trying to rotate around your spine. It all kind of works together. It's interesting when they looked at the biomechanics of Dellin Betances when he was with the Mets and they're trying to figure out why he was losing velocity. One of the things they noted was that he had a big head whack move in his delivery that he wasn't doing as aggressively anymore. And they felt like that was part of it, like just a huge head whack move that was kind of helping him leverage a little bit more force into the rotational plane as he was getting ready to release the ball, which I thought was interesting. All right, so who was I just about to go look? Kade Anderson. All right, so he pitched yesterday for the Mariners. Hopefully that game is on televised so we can actually see it. Texas versus Seattle. I want to look at his breakdown real quick before we start. Logan Gilbert, Ryan Sloan. He didn't pitch in this game, so it must have been 2 days ago. So was this on the come on, February 28th game? Yeah, Kade Anderson. All right, so this is the first time we've ever really watched him on a big league field. So it's just interesting to look right away. 4-seam fastball, 17-5. Slider, -2 and 4. Changeup, 9 and 11. Okay. Curveball, -9 and 8. I like that. Spin rates look like actually a little bit on the low side, especially with that 4-seam. But he generated 57% whiff in this game. So definitely curious to watch this. So who is this? This is Padres and Mariners from the other day. So this guy was the 3rd overall pick in the draft out of LSU. Not a ton of pitches, so let's watch him. All right, first batter he gets to face is Xander Bogaerts. There's that fastball. I mean, very, very low spin on the 4-seam. 1787 RPM on this. But anyway, he gets the swing and miss from the X-Man. Now he's going to go right to that changeup. -12 and 9. Really good location there. So pretty high release in terms of angle. If he uses his 4-seam down, that's going to hide this changeup break really well, and this is a tremendous location. So first 2 pitches very well located. 1-seam up, changeup down and away, beautiful, and then he's going to punch him with 95 looking. Ooh, dots it right on the corner. So a little too aggressive on the first 2 pitches, and then ends up getting frozen on the third one. So Xander takes a seat, and we are on to the next batter and the next coffee. Got about half an hour left before I got a boogie. All right, Jackson Merrill. So he got the real lineup. So it's sort of a interesting fastball shape. It's got like some perceived cut to it for sure. Throws it plenty hard enough. All right, let's see the slider. Good pitch. It's going to be a poor result for him, but very good pitch. Gets the reach, doesn't hit this ball very hard. Second baseman's pulled over in the hole, so he ends up getting rewarded with a hit, but good pitch, good execution. 5 pitches, 5 executions, and then, of course, now he's going to walk Castellanos. Let's just go to the 3-2 pitch. I don't like to watch a whole entire walk. So misses there. I like that they gave him number 13. That's pretty encouraging. All right, Miguel Andujar. Let's watch this hole at bat as he punches him. First pitch curveball. Chopped foul. Miggy, very aggressive hitter. Fastball up in would make sense here if you're that early on that. Oh, he misses it up away. So fastball's playing despite the spin rate. Curveball go dirt. Gets it there. Doesn't swing. And now changeup. Ooh, I like this pitch. If he locates it down and away, he's going to wave. Yeah. Really good execution. So we've seen him execute 2 changeups really well to 2 good guys. Andujar and Xander. All right, now Sheets 3-pitch punchy. Start him with the slider. Nice pitch. Now to the curveball. I like that. That's a good combination, slider to curve. Yep, gets him out front because of the speed difference, and then he's going to finish him with the fastball. Probably up. Actually just dots it away. So kind of freezes him. You know what happened here? It's sort of like throwing a backdoor sinker here. He threw him back-to-back breaking pitches, stuff that would have started on the plate and break off the plate. They would have started here and gone this way, and then this last pitch, just kind of stays. You know, it looks like it's out of that same window, so he doesn't pull the trigger because he doesn't want to chase, and he just gets locked up right there. So really nice pitching. I mean, he's showing good pitchability, and I like the way his pitches move together. So far, I like 4 of his pitches, so that's pretty good. All right, Freddie Fermin's going to get a hit on a fastball, 3-2 fastball. Nobody on, so this is the challenge heater. And he just kind of rolls it through the 4-hole. Both hits he's allowed just kind of rolled over ground balls, kind of crappy ground balls, but that's part of the game. And then he's going to give up this hit to Cronenworth, and this will chase him from the game on a fastball, another 3-2 count. So when he gets count leverage, he's been fine. When he's fall behind, he's worked at 3-2, and he's gotten beaten a few times on some challenge heaters. I mean, this isn't a great contact either, but I got to give credit to Cronenworth for kind of, actually, 105.3. Didn't look like it, but staying inside this ball nicely. That's our first look at Kade, though. I thought he looked good. You know, it's always crazy that first big league camp. You get in there, you face a real lineup, guys that you've been watching on TV. There's people in the crowd. There's buzz. You know that they're evaluating you. I don't know. It can be a lot. It can be a little bit of an almost overstimulation situation. And obviously his outing wasn't perfect, but he showed pretty well there. I thought some really good sequencing at times. The changeup away from the righties. He's going to be interesting to watch. He doesn't have crazy spin or anything that adds another layer there, but if he has great pitchability and command and a good mix like he has, and I think he has some deception due to his arm slot, that could play. Plus the Mariners really need a lefty in the rotation, and he's going to come pretty quickly based on his level of polish, I would imagine. Am I wrong to suggest that if he drives down the mound a bit more, he will get a couple more miles an hour, or would that throw everything out of whack? So stride length, sometimes you can overdo it. There's a sweet spot for every guy that kind of allows them to sequence their rotation: hips, trunk, shoulders, hand. And if you get too far down the mound, sometimes it doesn't allow your hips to really open properly on time, and you have to move everything in one piece. Also hurts your ability sometimes to get a little bit of this action which is another way, flexion, which is another way that people throw hard. So, I mean, there are guys with long strides that throw hard, obviously, but you have to have a lot of mobility and probably size to go along with it. Truthfully, you watch a lot of guys, they leverage a shorter stride into a really, really violent rotation. Think of Cam Schlittler, Legrandhay now is an example of this. Cease is like this. Verlander's like this. They're kind of a shorter stride, but they're a unit, but they get a little bit shorter. They plant in the ground and they just rotate like a son of a gun, and it really works out nicely. Now, was there another pitcher in here that somebody wanted me to watch from the Mariners? I think there was, but I can't spot it right now. Billy Wagner had a really long stride. And like I said, there's no rules with this. There are people who can pull off different things, but again, a lot of it has to do with how you move, how big you are, what is the mechanism that you create velocity from. And I think all of those are important things to find out. Okay, there was a Carter Jensen home run, I believe, yesterday. This is a guy that we're excited to find out more about. I want to see who the Royals played and if that was on TV. Kansas City, Milwaukee. Yeah, Carter Jensen home run came here. He also hit a 109.6 line out. So I'm curious to see Brewers and Royals. Hopefully this had a little bit of TV. You never know, though, because sometimes these, I mean, it's honestly a shame. They should have every game at least streamed off of a camera somewhere, you know? Let's just see real quick if we even get this game. No, that's a bummer. Not televised. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a shorter stream because I have to get on the bus in half an hour. So we're about 20 minutes left of this. But nevertheless, I got to do the stream. Want to do the stream. Lots of untelevised games yesterday. It's frustrating. We're trying to deep dive on some of this stuff. I know there's been some exhibitions also in Japan. We'll cover all WBC in 2 days when it gets started. But still some interesting spring training things to take a look at. All right, what else on the MLB scores did I see from yesterday? That was something. Mets and Stros. Sanchez had Saturday had Cease versus Sanchez. All right, you want to watch a little Cease? So this is Phillies, Jays. We can do that. We can watch a little Cease for my Jays fans. Phillies and Toronto Blue Jays. All right, so we'll start with Dylan Cease, the big signing. Like they said, first pitch of the game, 98.3 here. This is actually a leadoff walk of the game, but oh yeah, you can see it with the head already, what he's doing. This is Justin Crawford, the rookie that it looks like the Phillies are going to give some run. So watch Cease. He's looking away, and then he re-picks up the target. I like it. Good adjustment here. I think it will help. I don't know about how much better his stuff can get. I mean, he's a slider monster. His fastball is gas. Like, he's got some really good shit. That's why he got paid all the big bucks. But I do think it might help his command. Like when you, so look, he's looking at home, then he comes up, eyes go away from home, and then he re-engages right here, and then he stays on the target beyond the pitch, which to me is always the real key. How long can you stay through your target with your eyes and your intent? There's a 99 mile an hour fastball. That short arm action, it really plays. I think it might play into a little bit of his ability to stay healthy as well. Definitely works for him. But there's a walk. So, no real change in approach there, just four seamers and sliders. That's kind of how he does it. And now we'll just speed watch from here. I'm not going to watch every pitch. Here's a sinker. Kind of like a dead zone four-seam shape. And he's going to get a frozen strikeout if Schwarber overturned here. Oh, Schwarber knew. So this is a strike all day long. You can see he said, I was already headed that way. Yeah, I mean, geez, umpire, are you shitting me? You can't be more in the zone than that, but I actually really like this pitch because one of my pet peeves, not my pet peeves, but one of my concerns about Cease is that he relies so much on chase. If guys aren't chasing and they're not swinging against him, how's he going to finish the at-bats? But if he can go ahead and learn to occasionally freeze a guy, like he goes back foot slider and they take it easily, and then he can throw this pitch off of it with a little bit of run to the corner and get some freeze action, well, now we're talking about a completely different situation. So this pitch excites me a lot. All right, Harper. This is a strikeout, so let's watch the whole at bat. First pitch, knuckle curve. This is a pitch I've said he should be throwing more. Gives him speed separation, and it's also just a good offering. Not a lot of guys throw as much north-south. Well, they don't show it. Anyway, he gets a swinging strike on it, which we didn't see. And then here's a 98-3. We're not going to see this one either. Man, they're crushing us. Show me a pitch. Why are they doing this? Oh, here we go. So finally on a 2-1 count, Harper lets him get back to 2-2 to let Crawford steal. Let's see what he gets him with. 97.5, four-seam. Top of the zone. Bam, see you later. Okay, so what did we talk about earlier on the stream about how catchers were dropping their glove and messing up high fastball targets? Not Kirky. Watch him. He stays here the whole time. Never really sags it too far down, and Cease is able to deliver a really good four-seam right there. That was really, really good. Really, really good right there. Great execution all around. All right, Edmundo Sosa is going to get him to fly out on a slider.
It explodes at the top, according to him.
You can see that Cease has already taken some, made some effort to reduce tipping options on second, the way he was kind of holding his glove there. Slider's just a good pitch. He's going to get a lot of outs with that, of course. All right, now Garrett Stubbs. Going to punch him with a fastball. Let's see if it's another high one. Actually just in, and he foul tipped it. This is actually not a great rep because he pulled it a little bit. I bet you the metric's a little muted. Let's see. Nope, still 20. This is a screaming heater, though. That time, I don't think Kirk did as good a job with his target. All right, Otto Kemp. Gonna get him with a fastball. It'll fly out, just gets above the barrel there, and he's actually going to get clipped for a home run here by De La Cruz. So let's watch this whole at-bat, because this is one of the issues with Cease. So here's the sinker right on right. It's 11.8 vert, which is pretty lifty for a sinker, but it's a lot less than his four-seam. 9.2, which is not a ton of run, but it's a lot better than his four-seam does. So it provides some variety. I expect him, the fact that he's using it now a little bit, I do think is interesting. Man, his slider's just so good. Look at that pitch. It's interesting because it'll help him a little bit versus righties. Sweeper away. No command of that. I mean, he's definitely trying to figure out what else he can go to besides his main two. There's a pull. Looks like he's over-rotating a little bit on those pitches. This time he stays a little tighter on it. Gets the foul ball, and then here's the home run on a fastball. He just saw a lot of fastballs that got himself in a bad count. And he misses middle down with it. Oof. Ball's launched. 106.3 at 33, 432. It's just a good swing, but, you know, this is spring training. He's just trying to finish this at bat, challenge heater. And, you know, look, he misses down with it. I don't think it's a coincidence, though, that with the glove. I mean, again, look at the Kirky situation here. Target starts high, and then it comes down low. And then look where the ball is. It goes right where his glove is now. So I think with Cease, they should probably try to just keep the glove in some location. Now, you don't want to do too much of it too early because the dugouts will chirp what pitch is coming if you're just stuck at the top of the zone because there's no way he's throwing a slider off that target. But the point remains. Point remains. Anyway, Cease looked pretty good, I thought, overall. He does get clipped for the home run. We saw him try a few different pitch types there. Face the big guns. I love the comeback sinker to Schwarber. That was exciting. So, love that. That could be something good. All right, what else we got here in the chat? Oh man, it's so hard to like scroll up sometimes in the chat. Every aspect of public human life is recorded except the interesting spring training games. Yeah, that and the Epstein files, which we haven't seen yet. Anyway, got to send these people to jail. I'm thinking the guys I'm most curious to see are of the league track record. Yeah, I mean, okay. Here's one. How do dudes get such short arm pats? Is it only from throwing the football? Joe Kelly-esque delivery. It's not just the football. It's also a heavier ball. When you throw a heavy ball, it's harder to get like your arm super extended away from your body without it hurting because it's so heavy. It's putting all sorts of weird force as you get your arm further away from your body. So if you keep it tight, then you can throw a really heavy ball and then you just get comfortable with that arm stroke. In reality, you don't need to do a whole lot on your take back. You just need to get here at the right moment, right? So Joe Kelly, Cease, Giolito, a lot of young guys we see coming up have the shorter arm strokes, and they've been quite effective. And I also think it can help you stay healthy depending on who you are, for sure. I know that his control isn't the best, but being healthy this much with his arm angle is impressive for Cease. Yeah, I mean, sometimes the over-the-top arm angles, you worry a little bit about shoulder stuff, but I think he's just so good about coming through in a very simple way, and he's able to repeat it over and over again. Clearly, he's gifted in the health department. 20 induced vertical break at 98 over 200 innings with the best secondary pitch in baseball will play well over the next 7 years. Yeah, extremely high floor because he's going to cover innings and he's strike a lot of guys out, and usually that's a good foundation. Very curious to see how it plays over the long haul, especially how he pitches in the division. In Little League, we had catcher's mitts with an orange target ring. Yes, I did too at times. They were very good, something to key in on, something to lock those ojos on, those eyes, very important. New spring training idea, release the game footage, but have black boxes redacting all the players. I'm on your wavelength, Maya, 100%, 100%. All right, probably have time to look at maybe one more thing. I guess while we're here, we could watch a little bit. I mean, Springer got 2 hits off of Christopher Sanchez. I don't need to watch a ton of Christopher Sanchez. We already know he's awesome. But we'll watch Springer, who was my prediction to take a step back. But, it's going to be an infield hit. Man, I wish I had a sprint speed reading on this. Not that it matters because it was perfectly hit into no man's land. But I wanted to watch these Springer at-bats because, God, he was so good last season. Here's Brad Keller.
Back in 2013.
Four seam, pretty close for a ball, and then sinker off that. Ooh, stays through it nicely. That's a good bat path right there. Staying through it, staying inside it. If he had an inkling that pitch was coming, he'd probably cheat on it, but he didn't try to do that. And then he gets a walk in his last at bat. So nice day for Springer. Here is Alejandro Kirk, it's funny because I saw him yesterday here. So I'll watch his hit at least off of Keller. Because the Mexican team and Great Britain team are staying in the same hotel as us, just not USA. They're probably somewhere super fancy. Ooh, a little oppo ground ball through the hole. No idea why they're playing him to pull so hard. Little hit there. Ernie Clement. He also got a hit off Keller. So Keller gave up some hits in this game. This pitch has real cut to it at 96. It's just like, if the Blue Jays are just so good at hitting these sprayed ground balls and line drives. Like, this is a Ernie Clement hit all day long. You think you're hitting the count. You think you're going to doors him. He's like, no, I'm just going to touch it and smack a hit to right. So they're a tough team to face. They'll continue to be tough to face this year. All right, what else we got here? What about putting a target on the chest protector? I mean, there already kind of is. There's labels, different things you can shoot at. Yeah, I don't hate the idea, though. Maybe there's something there to kind of draw your eyes to it. Don't mind that. Yeah, Brad's in Philly now. no longer with the Cubs. Had a breakout year last year. Signed over there. Curious to see how that goes. Jay's young guys got to Scooble yesterday. Maybe it's good. He's only facing Great Britain. I'm sure he'll be quite fine in a real game. The flat bat path plus bat speed. Jay's recipe: few home runs but extra base hits for days, and just like a lot of it jailbreaks you against a lot of the pitchers that like to spam you with fastballs at the top of the zone. It kind of takes their superpower away if you can just stay flat and serve them over the infield for hits all day long. They don't really know what to do against that if you can't do it. All right, man, I got maybe 10 minutes. Got maybe 10 minutes left. Salvi Perez in his fashion gear. He wears the polka dot chest protector on Seth Lugo days. That probably helps. Yachty used to have like the Jordan gear with like the big labels on it. So there was some people there to kind of watch. Yankees, Phillies. I mean, somebody in the chat's here asking for some Yankees action. Let's just see who even played for the Bombers yesterday and if anything interesting happened. Somebody also asked me in the chat here about Trent Grisham, and yeah, I see he's hitting 297 OPS so far. I just don't care that much about spring stats for hitters, especially at this point. Doesn't really matter yet. Lombard 0 for 2. Dominguez 0 for 2. Did Spencer Jones play? No. Trey 0 for 3. Real Muto 0 for 3. Bohm 0 for 3. Not a lot of offense in this game. Painter, though. Okay. We got Painter, so let's watch Painter. First, let's backtrack to we'll get the data, and then we'll watch Painter's outing, and we'll call it for today. Will Warren also pitched, but we'll have plenty of time to look at him. All right, Andrew Painter. Averaged 96.8 with the four-seam yesterday through 65% fastballs. Generated one whiff on that. Changeup, 10%, curveball 10, sinker 5, sweeper 5, slider 5. So he threw one pitch each of sinker, sweeper, slider. Velocity, 96.8 on the 4, 95.3 on the sinker. 16 and 5 on the four-seam. I think it had more vert before surgery than that. Sinker, 15 and 12, so that's just more of a runner at that point. Changeup, 8 and 6. That's a weird pitch. Very low spin, so it's likely a kick or a split. Curveball, -8 and 7. All right, let's just watch it. Painter versus the Yankees. I mean, it's the Yankees, so it has to be on TV, right? They actually televise their games because they have people that will watch them. All right. Andrew Painter, our first real look at him. Let's do it. 96.6. Does look like the arm angle came back up a touch from what I watched him at the end of year in spring training. So that's immediately a little bit encouraging. And this is a 20 ball. It's a very easy, strokey fastball right there. There's a ball up top. Here comes the curve. Little backed up curve. Grish got a beat on that, super beat on that. Pops it up at 69.1. Here's an important point that Jane just made in the chat. Big Poppy's lifetime 600 OPS in spring training makes me never obsessed on spring training stats. Me neither. I've seen it time and time again. I've seen guys go off for 8 or 9 bombs in spring training and then can't hit a lick in the season. So it's just a different game. There's not as much intel, if that makes sense. So I think that's part of it. Okay, Ben Rice. First pitch four-seamer. I mean, he is tall as shit. Another four-seam here. Gets him to chop that. So 2 up, 2 down. And now Jason Dominguez is going to punch out on an 8-pitch at-bat. So let's watch this. Start him with a curveball. See if you can drop that in here. Nice pitch. Four-seam 97.4. So you can see why this guy has always been rated such a high prospect. I mean, exceptional size to him. Ball's coming out easy, which is what the scouts like to see. I bet when he's really clicking on all cylinders and this pitch is close to 100, that four-seam really plays. Let's see the changeup. Definitely a kick or something. Weird shape to it. This was a bad rep, but he's going to try it again. 6-6. Came out like a knuckleball. Four seam here. Getting some weird action on his four seam occasionally, and guys are on top of it, which is a little weird. This ball had crazy cut to it. Shatters the bat. And then he's going to go to the slider for the strikeout. Not a great location, but gets him out front. So pretty clean first inning there. And now on to the second. Paul DeJong, first pitch sweeper. Nice pitch. Swing and miss. And then sinker in, I would imagine. Yep. And it's more of a runner. So we should really just call this a runner for him. I wouldn't call this a sinker, for example. Not a lot of sinking going on, but it's going to get in on righties, and that's a nice pitch to have. And if he knows how to, I'm sure the Phillies are going to work with him. Nola, I'll actually ask Nola about it today. JT, they're gonna teach him to throw that comeback two seam as well, because if it has good run and it's a different shape than his four seam, and it is, his four seam's got a little perceived cut to it, he's going to freeze a lot of guys with that. So you see why this ball jams McMahon, because it only has 4 inches of horizontal. It's not that far in, but it jams him because it doesn't come back to the barrel at all. So he's got good shapes from what I'm seeing. And then he's going to finish up his outing with JC Escara. He hasn't had consistent lift on his fastball, but he's had pretty good cut-ish action on the four seam, which I like, which will definitely help him versus lefties. Decent swing by JC, but doesn't get it quite right. Flies it out to Adolis. So that's it for Painter. It's the first time we've seen him. I do like the fact that the four seam and the sinker are so different in terms of run. About at least 7 inches different there. And at times that four seam had even less run than it's showing here on average. It was slightly cutting. Just got to watch this guy more. Big dude, easy velocity. Has some stuff to him. The changeup looks like it's a work in progress with a new grip or something. But overall, you can see why he's been so hyped for a long time. Very big guy with good stuff. Jonathan Bolin, Kyle Backus, Zach Pop. So they ran a lot of their guys out there yesterday. On the Yankees side, Hess pitched again. Watched him a couple ways ago. Chavili. Winquest, which is the Rule 5 guy. And then Will Warren. Velocity up across the board on Will Warren, which is interesting to see. I'm not going to watch any more baseball, but 2.5 miles an hour up on his sweeper is intriguing with a guy who can spin it like him. Average 94.2. So he did some velocity training for sure. We'll see if that makes a difference for him. All right, let me hop into the chat for 2 minutes, and then I'm going to say goodbye. Big Poppy said they don't print spring training stats on the back of your baseball card for a reason. I agree with you, Jane, but I also don't agree with the way you're spelling Big Poppy. There's an I there. But it's true. I agree with you totally. No ABS and WBC. I doubt they'd be able to implement that in the ballparks in Japan and Puerto Rico. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get dugout app either for those two ballparks. We'll get it for the other two, I think. But apparently MLB might give me a package of highlights or something that we can look at from every game. So we'll see. Is WBC using the video review challenge for safe, out, and fair foul? I think so, but I'm not 100% sure. I guess we'll just have to find out. And I think we're gonna call it. I have a long day today. I'm gonna be at the field at the Cubs facility the entire day today. Probable pitchers for today in spring training. We'll go over these real quick. This will be the last thing. This is who the matchups are. I don't know what of these games are on TV, but Josiah Gray and Hunter Brown. This is a good one right off the rip. Josiah Gray coming back. He's been out for a long time, and Hunter Brown. He's on the short list for a guy who could win the Cy at this point. Mason Englert, Mike Clevenger. I have no interest in this game unless Connor Griffin's playing. Bryce Elder and Framber Valdez. So Framber making his Detroit Tiger spring training debut. Might be interesting to watch that. Marlins, Cardinals, Mazer and Palante. Red Sox, Blue Jays, Oviedo and Ponce. This is a very interesting one. Hopefully we get to see Ponce. I don't know how you even say that. I'm very excited to watch him. His numbers looked good in his first game back, but there was no video. Cubs, Reds, J-Mo and Brady Singer, 2 vets. Slade Ciccone and Evaldi. This is Evaldi's second start. He actually always throws a lot in spring, so exciting to watch. Nasty Nate, Landon Roop, Davis Martin, Noah Cameron, Grayson Rodriguez, Royals, Angels. Grayson, we need to watch Grayson if he's on TV at all. Ryder Ryan and Jimmy Herget, who they're given a chance to start here, it looks like, for the Rockies, which is interesting. Ryder Ryan's another one. Mason Barnett and Michael King. I would like to watch Kinger a little bit as well. So my number 1 picks are A's, Padres, Royals, Angels to see Grayson, and then definitely Red Sox, Jays, and then I would say this first one, Nats, Astros. So hope you guys enjoyed the show today. I had to cut it short a little bit. I have to literally be on the bus in 9 minutes, so I got to get out of here. Have a great day, everybody. I will be back on here, I believe, tomorrow morning. If not, it'll be tomorrow night. So keep an eye out, and I will post an upcoming stream later on today. Thanks for hanging with me, guys, and have a great day. Have a great day, everybody. See you guys later.